Faja, can you hear me?
Oh yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There it is.
There it is.
Get
Good.
in there.
I just was playing because I love the game. Like, and it's scary to me.
It's really easy for the game to become a job.
Glow sticks in his hands, whistle in his mouth.
Man, kids out there playing the game, staying out of trouble, competing. I love it.
Who's sponsoring 7-on-7 this year?
Dude, I don't think anybody is.
That was I almost grabbed this sponsor like this and just wasn't it. All right. Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yeah, because we just got so that's next week. We just got the paperwork and whatnot. Everything we got to fill out, insurance, rosters, etc. We have to bring our own jerseys. There's no, like, stuff, no jerseys, shorts, socks, cleats, gloves. None of that's being given to the kids.
Really?
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know what happened or if this is still post like COVID ripple effect or what, but I don't even know if there is a naming sponsor. I think it's just we're back to the early 2000s days of just the state 7-on-7 tournament.
But for sure, like no new jerseys, no new short or like issued shorts, nothing.
Kids get no gear.
So whatever you wore to the SQT, that's what you're wearing there.
Mm-hmm. And they sent out
that sucks, dude.
I know. I mean, but it was getting a little out of hand, but the kids loved it.
It's like Texas. Nothing is out of hand. Nothing's too big. That's frustrating.
Yeah, they're not doing like where teams get the jerseys or anything. Got to wear these shorts. They're not doing any of that. They actually sent a rules list of what the specs on the jerseys have to be. So there has to be a number on the front and the back.
Hey, we're not going to issue you any jerseys here, but make sure it looks exactly like this. Make sure you pay your money to do this and that. That's bull.
Exactly. So, I mean, it is what it is.
That pisses me off.
I could tell. I mean,
I didn't get anything out of it, obviously,
Right.
from like a apparel standpoint, but like those kids were so excited whenever they like. That's not like all they wanted, but like
it was a big part of making it.
It made that if it was a 4-hour drive, it made those 4 hours that much easier of a drive, knowing that you're about to get swagged out.
100%.
And like a lot of those kids, like I mean, depending on where you're at, but like have never experienced that before.
For
like,
sure.
hey, here's this, like Oprah, boom, boom, boom,
Exactly.
boom.
He was even, and who knows what it'll be like when we get down there, if there will be booths or things set up like a clinic or something. But I do know that was something that the kids every year always loves, and none of the guys, a lot of the kids that are going this year, the vast majority of them won't have ever experienced that because they didn't get to play last year.
Yeah.
You know, even if the only ones you're looking at that would have been some stud that was playing 7-on-7, you know, leading into his sophomore year.
Wow.
So
That's tough. It sucks too, because like I don't want to say it's an excuse, but like I've seen a lot of like, well, you know, post COVID, we can't do it. Well, at what point is a lot of this stuff becoming an excuse because you just don't want to do it? It would have been hard to do, and it would have been the exact same. It would have been just as hard 3 years ago to put it on for other reasons. But now we have a great excuse. COVID, it just makes it too hard. We can't do it right now.
yeah, and I know that there was some.
No disrespect to COVID.
Right.
I understand, all right? But still, like, dang, that sucks for the kids, man.
And I think there was some other behind the scenes kind of stuff because Adidas sponsored that thing for so long.
Yeah.
And this is purely speculation. I can't prove or confirm any of this, but I think that contract ran out during that window, and there was never a new one added or agreement come to or anything like that. Or Adidas may have just been like, bro, we spend so much money down here, we're done. Yeah. But who knows? Because Adidas, that long-term deal came at like the height of Adidas kind of taking over the high school jersey market for 2 or 3 years, making those collegiate level uniforms affordable for high schools. So it made a lot of sense, and I just don't know if that's if that's feasible anymore.
I know of some schools, I'm not going to name, but like I know of some schools that qualify, like smaller ones too, that would qualify for the tournament And because they were giving all those cleats, like every kid had to use cleats, that happened to be the same year that they were getting new jerseys that summer and decided to go Adidas just so they can match everything.
Exactly.
So, like, I mean, maybe it did cost and maybe they did lose money, but, like, I feel like that's, like, an easy way to get yourself sponsored. Not saying they need help, but, like, I mean, that's a perfect example as to, like, oh, we give them all cleats. These smaller schools, they want to match it all up and be Adidas, head to toe. Let's do it.
Mm-hmm.
That sucks, man.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, I'm just glad we're getting to play because I think it, I am a big 7-on-7 guy because of the growth it can allow you to have from a skill player standpoint in your offense.
Yeah.
I did see some Twitter rants as the qualifying tournaments kind of came to an end. Some Twitter rants about, throwing those underneath slants right into the back of the right guard's head and, or the two-handed underhand pass on like 3rd and 1 and whatnot.
Yeah.
And I get all that. But to me, the things that actually bother me more about the game is a quarterback that takes a snap and there's no drop. He throws it like from the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
Those type of things. When you're trying to do something to convert 3rd and 1 so you can continue to drive, I think it is what it is if you're getting 80% of your plays run from like a full concept standpoint, what it would look like in the fall, I think you're doing pretty good getting something out of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you can always find something to complain about when it comes to that type of stuff.
I mean, it could be worse. We could be playing defenses that have 8 out there like you've done before.
Could be doing that. Could be doing that too. It's
playing a little 8-on-7.
Absolutely. Yeah, it makes the quarterback better. That's for sure.
Staying straight.
Normally this zone right here is open. Now you got to thread it. You really got to thread the needle there. So now it's a half window. So you better Stafford that thing and sidearm it. So but anyway, 7-on-7. What else is going on? When is the tournament again?
It's next. Small schools will play Thursday, Friday.
College Station still?
Big schools will play Friday, Saturday. So 24th through the 26th.
Gotcha. College Station's cool. Really cool. I'm sure Jimbo will be out there watching.
I highly doubt it.
Hopefully no fights this time.
Right.
Good stuff. What else? 7-on-7.
What about so the SMU mega camp is over.
Apparently it was like huge success. Like, well, you were there. I wasn't there. You were there, but like, I don't even want to say a number because it's probably going to be exaggerated, but like tons of kids were apparently there throughout. What was it? 2 days?
It was 3 days.
3 days?
I think it was Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
It was a very high number.
Final number I heard was 3,600 kids registered. Wow. And then there was 65 coaching staffs represented.
Wow.
Here's what I'll say. Moving forward, I think that was great for – there's a certain niche of athlete or recruit that's really good for.
Mm-hmm.
Moving forward, I will be more apt to encourage our kids to go to camps that they either have a relationship directly with or is hosted by a school. Because 3,600 kids – even spread out over 8 sessions, it's really, really easy to get lost in the shuffle. Saw a lot of, depending on who you were, if I'm a quarterback, throw a ball, stand around for 8 minutes.
Well, yeah. And I feel like that's how like a lot of the camps are becoming nowadays. Like, and I've told my quarterbacks before too, like, I'm not saying you need to be rude or mean or disrespectful, but like, if you just sit back there and you're not assertive, like, you'll sit back there for 10 minutes watching another quarterback just get the next rep and get the next rep. So, like, if you're going to go, you better go. And I tell all of them, text me where you're going because maybe I know somebody, either at that school or at one of the 25 schools because it's a mega camp that I know. And I can say, hey, I don't know if you're going to be at the camp, but if you know somebody on your staff that's going to be there, please tell them this is my guy, go watch them. Otherwise, you're right. It's like, is it really worth standing 6 hours for 2 reps? Absolutely not, in my opinion.
I 100% agree. And that's the biggest thing is that if you can't find a way to make that connection ahead of time, hey, so-and-so, my guy's going to be there, or, oh, I know that coach, we've been talking. If you can't do that, I mean, you're giving a Division I football program money. That's all you're doing.
Literally. And like, I think it's really hard to just because, I don't know, I think every coach is different. obviously with how transparent they are to each kid. But like, it's also hard to be like, hey, I mean, you can advise them, hey, I think I would do this and that. But I think where I'm going to start getting a little bit more aggressive, I'll say, is offering my advice as far as, hey, if it's a Division II kid, for sure Division II kid, at best FCS, and he's like, hey, I'm going to a camp. Is it a mega camp? No, it's not a mega camp. Got it. Where's the camp at? It's at OU. So it's just OU. Uh-huh. Okay, are you driving there? Yeah, I'm driving there. Costs money, costs money. Don't go do it.
100%.
Like, and that's not me like saying, hey, screw your dreams. You're a terrible player. You can't go play at OU. But like, it's just being realistic. There could be a camp at Sam Houston that same day. You don't have an offer from them, and then you go crush it, and then boom, there's your big offer, and then kind of go from there. But like, have dreams, but be realistic at the same time, and don't be scared to kind of tell those kids that. And it's easier said than done.
For sure. That's the hard line to toe is, you want the kids to have goals and aspirations and dreams and things to go chase. But at the end of the day, genetics and statistics, they are what they are. And we have to be willing and we have to be in a place as coaches to have those conversations of like, look, I know what you want to do.
Yep.
But the feedback I'm getting and the feedback you're telling me you're getting says that that's a little bit out of our reach.
Correct. Yeah.
And yes, you'll have those outliers that I can't even think of the kid's name. He transferred into Baylor, but he went to a Division III and then walked on at Baylor.
Okay.
And ended up earning a spot in the starting lineup and ended up getting brought in by the Toronto Raptors. And that was a kid that only had Division III opportunities coming out of high school. Sure, those stories exist.
Yeah.
Not very often.
Right, yeah. And I'm not saying, just for clarification, I have told kids before in that same scenario, hey, I'm going to an OU camp. And I've said yes. Here's why. Digging into it more, that kid specifically had never been to a P5 school in his life. Realized he wasn't going to OU to go play, but just simply wanted to go to a big-time camp, have the experience, go be on campus. Hey, man, yeah, if that's the case, go enjoy it. Go embrace it. What I'm referring to is the kid that's like, hey, coach, here's my Excel sheet of my camp schedule, my tour that I'm going on here. And it's and we all know, again, this is just figuratively speaking, but this kid is a Division II kid, FCS at best, and it's Baylor, OU, Bama, Tennessee. It's like, dude, like I appreciate and respect the fact. I like that you took the time to plan this out and took ownership of it, you or your dad or your mom. But like, man, help me help you.
Yeah, let's sprinkle in a little bit of reality. You want to go see Bama? Awesome. Why don't we go check out SFA?
Absolutely, yeah. Go be a lumberjack. Go check it out. Nacogdoches.
That's what, and the camp circuit was so. I think it was still pretty new when I was in high school.
Yeah.
But went to a UTEP camp because kid I knew had some connections to some coaches there. Hey, come with me, blah, blah, blah. Went to Texas State camp because a couple of my high school buddies were going and felt like FCS might be just at the top of that reach, might be able to sneak in there. But all those told me going to that UTEP camp, and UTEP is a G5 school. All it told me is like, okay, there's no shot. It's a confirmation of sorts, right? I wanted to go like that kid, have the experience, but if I'm going to go play ball at that level, I got a lot of work to do, and I'm going to have to walk on.
Yeah. Yep.
And so the preparation mentally was there. I learned something. I got something out of the experience. But, I don't think that when I was in high school, I don't even think when you were in high school, man, kids are camp crazy these days.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's like I said, they're coming out with, on Twitter, excited to announce, here's my camp tour. that I'm doing. Check it out. Coaches, check me out, follow me on the tour. Like, who are you, Drake? Like, what's going on here? And again, I mean, a lot of it too, it's just, that's just part of the social media part of it and how the kids are nowadays.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of that is kids being kids. The thing that I thought was interesting is Coach O, who is very respected from a recruiting standpoint.
Yeah.
As
Trust my eyes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Where the state does a lot of the inline recruiting push, and there's so much validity to that. But Coach O is a guy that is not going to lie, oversell.
He does it the right way.
Exactly. And here's a guy who works these camps, who gets a lot of his business through these camps, telling kids, chill, 4, maybe 5, no more.
Sure.
Like, because these are also the same people that have the select 7-on-7 teams that do it the right way. Him and Coach Flight are constantly talking about, you will not skip a high school team function to come to this.
Yeah.
You will not. And these are guys that go work these camps with these college coaches, and they're even saying, hey, chill out.
Yeah.
So it's just funny to me to see, like, from when I was in high school to now, how much that has become like a mandatory aspect of recruiting, which is fine because there is a lot of validity and exposure in going to these things for guys that, feel that they have gone unnoticed or slept on. Yeah, for sure. But you have to do it with the understanding. We've had a kid tell me today that he had his camp schedule and whatnot. He was supposed to go to camp next week, and he's like, I'm going to go on the visit, and then that's it. He said, because I'm tired. And the harsh reality is that even at 16, 17 years old, your body can only take so much.
Sure. And
driving all over the state every third day is taxing.
Yeah.
So, but it's something that's become a mainstay in recruiting, and it's not going anywhere anytime soon.
Yeah.
So we've just got to do a better job, I think, of coaching the kids through the process.
Yep.
And I don't know what that looks like. I don't know how you start that conversation, but it is something that we probably need to look at coming up with kind of a starter dialogue of setting these dates, understanding the why, understanding where you want to go.
Yeah.
And if you don't have an idea, diversify. Go to an FCS. Go to a G5. If you want to try out a P5, cool. But go places that are at different levels, get different experiences, but don't go to 15.
Yeah, and I think that's important. It's just because I'm not saying don't go to camps. Go to camps. Because, I mean, I think when it comes to everything in life, I say all the time, adapt or die. And so if they're offering it, yeah, for sure go. You want to make a schedule? Yeah, make a schedule. Be organized. What I'm saying is be realistic with that schedule.
1,000%.
And when it comes to like Coach O and those guys, I think where they're smart and where they do a great job is like what you alluded to and we're talking about in regards of, hey, you will never train with me, and while you're training, you're also currently missing something school function. Because I think that also, and they're smart, they know that also is gaining their respect from Texas high school coaches, which by far I would say is the biggest association in the world, the tightest bond of coaches from just like a state to state perspective. And so way better chance as a coach to be like, oh, well, if my kid is going to train with somebody, I would really like him to train with a guy that gets it like that, to where he's not going to pull my kid away from a school function. So it's a win-win. Yeah, it's a win-win. So I respect that. And, like you said.
On that note, how do you feel about your kids training with outside coaches?
I mean, in regards of quarterbacks, I don't, absolutely not. Not because I'm saying that I'm like better.
That's exactly what he is saying.
I'm literally not saying that at all. I never
understanding that he's not wrong. Okay.
It's not accurate. I'm never that guy that says what I say is right, but it's a philosophy that I'm going to teach the rest of the year. So I don't want my position group kids to go learn a different philosophy and then have to relearn. So that one's easy. No, absolutely not. Footwork and stuff like that. Yeah, sure. Go do ladders and all that type of stuff. I'm cool with that. So But aside from quarterback, if I'm a head coach or even like a coordinator, and I can kind of oversee my offensive guys and say, well, I don't want my receiver coaches going to this guy. Honestly, I kind of leave it up to the position coach, and I really want to give that guy a chance because I do think it is good, for the most part, for kids to go be coached by somebody else. You know what I mean? There's pros and cons to both. I think it can be very monotonous to be with the same guy, hear the same voice. And it's almost like your dad is sitting there telling you the same thing. He's been saying it for a year, and then this other guy says the exact same thing, and then you're driving home with your son, and your son's like, "Yeah, he told me this," and like, "God, he's so smart." And you're like, "I've been saying that for 2 years."
Exactly.
They just tend to listen different. So I think again, the easy answer is as long as it doesn't conflict philosophically with what and schematically all that type of stuff with what we're trying to do. Absolutely, go train with them. But I think it's important too that you as a coach at least have an idea who the trainer is, meet the trainer, just to make sure there's a relationship there.
Yeah, full disclosure, both of us at different points have worked with kids that go to or are part of other programs.
Yeah.
But one of the things that we were conscious of through that process is that we wanted that coach to know, whoever that high school coach was, whoever that was, we wanted them to know that this is my intention. This is what my goal is. Does it conflict or align with what your goals are for this person within your offense?
Yeah.
And it's something that I've talked about with other people before, and it's something that I think is just a foundational piece of how we move in the professional workplace. But simple communication can alleviate a lot of these hesitancies, frustrations, anxiety.
Yeah.
We can take care of a lot of those issues by having a conversation.
Yeah.
And if you're willing to do that, then I think you're right. Let that guy go be, let that be a new voice for your kid to hear. And the flip side of that is, who's limited by the governing body of the UIL on how much they can work with a kid? We are.
Right.
If you're their coach, you can only do so much at certain times of the year.
Yep.
Guess who's not? That guy over there.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have that communication, hey, you're going to get to spend 90 minutes every other day or twice a week with him. Can we work these type of techniques or these type of progressions into that activity? Can you make sure that that's the focus for the next few weeks for this kid? Awesome. That guy gets to continue to do what he does. The kid's hearing it from a different voice, but he's continuing to progress in the way that we want to see him progress.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that's a good point too, because when you really dive into it, the only times I've ever been pissed off about that topic is whenever, and never at the trainer, right? But I've been pissed off about that topic whenever, for example, I did not know that kid was training. He didn't tell me, right? I find out maybe a week later, let's say we have 7-on-7 that day, that kid shows up and that kid's like, "Man, my legs are dead." I'm like, well, hold on. Like, we purposely did not do much in the weight room or in conditioning the last 2 days because we knew we had this 7-on-7 tournament or game today. So like, I mean, we didn't increase your max. So like, what's going on here? Oh, well, I trained with my trainer and it was a pretty tough day. That's not the trainer's fault. Like, if I would have had a relationship with that trainer because the kid told me, I could have, hey, here's a schedule, by the way, just so you know, hey, we got a tournament, this week and this weekend. Now the trainer knows, oh, out of respect for what you got at your school, we're supposed to do this. Let's go and back off. Let's go ahead and do some more walkthrough technique stuff. That way now you're fresh for your actual school event. And I feel like that doesn't happen a lot.
I would say almost hardly ever. Never happens.
Yeah, and it's just as much on the kid. You know what I mean? I mean, just for him to be, it's like.
You never want to deter a kid from trying to go get better. You never want to deter a kid from that.
Yeah, but just be a pro.
Exactly.
Be a pro. Like, know how to take care of yourself.
If you want to do all of these things that are next level pro mentality, you got to have a pro plan. You got to have a pro work ethic.
Absolutely.
You have to do all those things because, like you said, it's not that guy's fault. All he knows is that you called him. Let's train this time, 90 minutes, hour, whatever it is. He has no other idea. Now, could he? Sure. But it's on the kid to communicate, to have those conversations. I know personally, a lot of the things that I've ever done working with other people's players is if I don't know what their schedule is, I'm not your conditioning coach. I'm not your track coach. I'm not your speed coach. Because I know speed coaches are out there.
Yep.
We're working to get you better at receiver. We're working better to get you improving in these certain techniques.
Yep.
So that's what we're going to do. When we do something, it's intentional. It's just like you see those guys that go to the weight room, those bodybuilders or those professional powerlifters, and they're in there for like hours because they value and they understand the importance of the rest just as much as the work.
Yep.
And that's not to say that if I train a kid, it's going to be for 3 hours. That's to say that we're going to work within that 60 to 75, 90-minute window intentionally. My job is not to make you tired. That's not good work. That's just conditioning.
Sure.
It's to get you better at X, Y, Z, or 1, 2, 3, whatever these skills are, that you can then go and transition and see correlate into your 7-on-7, your 11-man, things of that nature. But all of that is predicated off of two things. Me understanding the high school coach side.
Yep.
Or from a conversation that has to exist somewhere in that phase
right.
of beginning to train with an outside source.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's communication like it always is. It's communication between the high school coach, the trainer, the parents of the trainee. It's all important. And I think a lot of the times too, it's one of those things to where sometimes it's just not going to work out with that trainer. You know what I mean? And whether the kid recognizes it or not, then you have to have that conversation as your coach with those parents. And that's just purely, hey, here's what I advise you. Do whatever you want at this point because you're the parents. You know what I mean?
For sure.
I mean, I've had a kid before too. I think this is very important. I've seen it happen a lot. I've seen it be respected and I've seen it be disrespected or disregarded. I had a kid one time that I was training. We started training, I think, at the very end of his 7th grade year. And this kid is a current Division I quarterback and knew he was going to be great. I mean, he was already, like a 6'3", 7th grader, kind of a freak already. He went 6'3", I think he's like 6'1". But anyway, freak. And so, we're training for 2 years and me and those middle school coaches, we had a relationship and we were good. And when we get to the high school level, I started noticing things and I did not have a relationship with that high school coach at the very beginning. I started noticing a couple of things that were going on from a mechanical standpoint that I had not taught. And I remember asking him, hey, how are the coaches, at the high school now, blah, blah, blah. Long story short, it ended up being a situation to where they did not want anybody else to train their kid outside of the program. Even if they in particularly didn't feel comfortable coaching mechanics, they just, I don't know if it was pride or whatever, and I get it, that's your program. And so I had to tell the kid, hey man, me continuing to train you right now is not going to be good because at the end of the day, I am not the one that makes the decision for you to play on Friday night. It's your position coach, it's your offensive coordinator. And so for me to say, hey, here's what I believe in, go ahead and do it. But then whenever you go back, on Monday, go ahead and do whatever he wants you to do. I'm just screwing the kid over. And so unfortunately I had to become basically just a mentor, for the next 3 years, hoping that, okay, well, maybe I can continue back his freshman year in college and then we can continue to go from there. But I think you have to have the respect and just the awareness as a coach, on both ends, of the ball there.
For sure. And that's a hard thing to do, especially because, I'm pretty sure I know who it is that you're talking about, but it's a hard thing to do because, you've had 2 years to build that relationship with that kid and to develop that bond, understand his body and what he needs, what his limitations can be or are currently. And then to have to step away, the pride can be on the other side of no, I know that I'm right. Because 90% of the time, you're going to be right. If we're talking quarterbacks, whatever you say, I'm believing.
Thank you.
Right? So if that's the case, it's really easy to fall into that trap of pride and, as my man J. Cole said, pride is the devil. but it's really easy to fall in.
Man, what a heater.
But it's really easy to fall into that and be like, well, I know I'm right. So he's just, this high school guy needs to get on board or get out of the way.
Yeah.
But knowing the long-term ramifications it'll have on the kid, being able to step away, that's one of the reasons. Those are the type of people you got to look for whenever your kids are going to go outside of the walls and look for training and extra work.
I think you got a hold on me. Dude, that's like going to be in my head the rest of the day.
You're welcome.
No, yeah, you're right. And I mean, so to this year actually, would have been, I would have had a quarterback who was training with somebody else. Would have been the first time I've ever had that ever happen. And it was the first time that I've ever, okay, I'm going to try to make this work, because they had been together very similarly, like for a few years, I think. And I didn't want to just wash that away.
For sure.
So I was going to try to compromise and kind of meet in the middle. Hey, what's your philosophy? Here's my philosophy. Why do you do that? Can you explain it to me? Okay. This is my explanation of what you just said. Maybe we can meet halfway. And if we can't, I got to cut you. I'm sorry. But I was
We're going to try to compromise, but at the end of the day, I'm right. So
I was willing to do that, you know what I mean? But I think again, just to try to, emphasize, and then in that conversation, I think it's important for both sides of the party to try to eliminate pride, have awareness, at the end of the day, do what's best for the kid, for the program, and for the kid.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But it doesn't make it easy by any means.
Hell no. It's so hard. It's extremely hard. So it's just like a lot of decisions are, us as coaches. Most decisions that you're making for a 16, 17-year-old kid, they're extremely hard. So very, it's a very low stress job to be a coach.
Said no one ever.
Right.
So last question. What's the most important job of a coach that has nothing to do with the sport?
Well, I think it's pretty simple. Do what's best for the kids. I think at the end of the day, like, that's what you signed up for. I mean, obviously, like, love the game of football. If you disagree here, let me know. But I would hope that any coach would say, my ultimate job is to mold boys into men, and to make them eventual great fathers, husbands. Yeah, it's a cliche thing, but the reason why it's cliche is because that is true. That is our job. And I think if you pour everything that you can into that one massive bucket, every other bucket below, schemes, right? All your X's and O's, being a great player, student athlete, well, all that water overflowing that big bucket will just end up flowing into those smaller buckets. But I think that's our ultimate job, is to mold them into great men.
Yeah, I had to. That's not the exact way that I answered the question.
Okay,
but it said it. But the overarching theme was basically that. Got a question that earlier this week they said, give me your hypothetical ideal profile of a coach on your staff. And the two things I said were, as iron sharpens iron, so does one man sharpen another. The second thing was, at the end of the day, whoever that person is, we could list out the attributes and the measurables: love the game, be loyal, have great leadership. We can list out all of those things. But if we're true to sharpening ourselves through our surroundings, and we love all students within the program intentionally, everything else will come to fruition naturally. Yeah. There's no need to search for it. There's no need to write it out. We can set those expectations after the fact, but when you lay the foundation, if you do those two things, all of those other things will follow. And
absolutely.
The great part about that answer and that approach is it's not measured the same way throughout the locker room.
Sure.
How you intentionally love kid A doesn't have to be how you intentionally love kid B.
Shouldn't be.
And exactly, especially as you move through a locker room, because needs will be different.
Yep.
Goals will be different. Strife and struggle will be different.
Not all people are
things.
created equal.
Correct.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's, that's such a good point. And I think it's one of those things too. When it comes to your staff, you want to have those, what's the best word for this? Every yin to your yang.
Got to.
You have to. Like for me, for example, and I know this is somewhat off of that topic, but like for me, whenever I look to each staff that I've had so far that's been great, like I know who I am and I'm working on my weak points and whatnot, but like I know where I need to have somebody else sharpen me, right? I need to have an O-line coach that's pretty chill and relaxed and can calm me down because it's going to help me be better, which is going to now help me be better for the kids, right? I'll do the same thing for that coach. I'll give him that energy, right? I'll be that gas station of energy for him and kind of so on and so forth for each staff. But yeah, I think if you can do that, now you feed into your kids and your kids will always, Coach Shaver said something this morning that we were talking about position groups and the coaches that coach him and whatnot. And he was like, man, I naturally see, those kids take on the personality of their position coach.
100%.
I got 100%. I got hyped. And it was like not in a setting to where I could just like jump up and be like, yeah. But
right.
So it was one of those like intrinsically I was hyped. I was like,
yes,
that's deep. Amen. But I thought about that. I'm like, you're right. And it comes back to what we talked about a few podcasts ago, which is coaching it or allowing it. So if you're not a great father, if you're not a great husband, right? If you don't work your butt off in the office and you don't enjoy the football and all that type of stuff, I can see your kids taking that on as well.
100%. Because that's what they're around. That's the leadership they get. Yeah. The majority of the time they're in this building. That's who they spend their most time with. Those are the traits that they're going to subconsciously take on.
Absolutely.
And when it comes to a staff, the other thing I said to that was, we need to meet criteria A, criteria B. You got to have those first.
Sure, yeah.
But through that understanding, like you said, with the yin to to those yangs, I want to be surrounded by people who have different. We say the word diversity, and that's so pigeonholed. Oh, they want to be diverse racially, and it's not even that, because you may live in an area where that's not feasible. Mm-hmm. But the diversity can come through life experiences and choices that have led to different experiences that I've learned from, I've grown from, and I can pass those lessons on to different kids.
Yep.
Because I can grow up in the same place as you and make decisions, and we can both be successful in our past, but I make decisions that lead me on a path that's different from you, which leads to different experiences, different lessons. We come full circle back to the same place. I have a perspective and a viewpoint of things that are completely different from what you went through. But A, we're both intentional in loving the kids that are part of the program. And B, we have a perspective that allows us to pass those lessons on. And that's where your well-rounded programs come from, because it's really easy for whoever's running that program. And again, we give this caveat a lot. Neither of us have done this. We're speaking from the chair of zero head coaching experience. But it's really, I can understand and sympathize with, it's really easy to hire a lot of like-minded individuals. Mm-hmm. And to a certain extent, yes, they need to be like-minded because you're going to be part of a team, but they don't need to be the same.
Right.
And if you can consciously approach the building of that from that perspective with that goal in mind, it's only going to further entrench your staff within your team, because you're going to have these different perspectives, viewpoints, personalities that all understand the moral compass of the program and the foundational goal of the program, but they got their own little flavor to it.
Oh, yeah.
And kids can find where they fit within that program.